Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler.
$11:01 on The Lock Shop. New era of The Lock Shop begins tomorrow as we will officially be presented by Play Alberta. I see a few of you over there. I see Bronco Nick says, what a time to be alive. Put my first EST bet in on Play Alberta. Yeah, we're doing some tests and run some tests with some timing and stuff over there today. So that's fun. And then tomorrow we'll be firing things up 100% Edmonton Sports Talk presented by Play Alberta. We'll have some offers for you and everything coming down the pipe tomorrow morning, starting on the Nielson show. But the beginning of the first day of the rest of our lives will be happening tomorrow right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, which is exciting. What is exciting is the Edmonton Oilers have won 3 in a row, and the Los Angeles Kings look like there's no way back. They look like there's no way back. But we'll find out. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. What an amazing performance from the Edmonton Oilers last night. We'll get into that, obviously, here on The Lock Shop when Huss joins us today. And then we'll also have the oil stream with myself and Tommy for Boston Pizza. That'll be coming up at noon today. That'll lead right into EST afternoons. And then the Reed Wilkins Show, the one-eyed man himself, coming in on the Reed Wilkins Show today from 3 to 6 with the glue guy, Jay Milne. You can text us anytime, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. We will recap NHL action last night. Obviously, a huge game for the Jets tonight. It'll be a big day for WST, so we'll get into that. Are the Toronto Maple Leafs starting to choke away another series? Have you ever seen a worse group of closers than the Toronto Maple Leafs? 1-13 in the Matthews era in games in which they can clinch, which is insane. Like that is all-time bad. So we will definitely get into that as well. We'll talk some golf today. It is a Wednesday, so we will get into that. CJ Cup, Byron Nelson. Huss and I will discuss a few guys that we like there as well. But lots of hockey talk as we work our way through the Lock Shop today. And very exciting day tomorrow for Edmonton Sports Talk. So thank you very much for being a part of that. I love seeing a lot of people being like, hey, Dusty, I hadn't been on my Play Alberta account for a while, but we're back, baby. I had one guy yesterday who slid in my DMs and he goes, I'm signing up. I support everything you guys do. I was like, wow, this is really nice. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. And I'm very excited to get my claws into the book a bit. Already working with the DGN Den over on the Discord, and they've got a list of things. They're like, could we do this? Could we add this? Could we change the way this looks? And my answers are like, yeah, they're open to a lot of it. So we'll get into that more here as we work our way forward on the Lock Shop and across all of Edmonton Sports Talk, as it is a title partnership agreement with Play Alberta, which is still fun to say. All right, Huss is going to be popping on here. We'll get his thoughts on can the Jets do to the Blues what the Oilers did to the Kings. I'm not sure, and I'm not sure if that's a Winnipeg's not Edmonton thing or St. Louis is better than Los Angeles thing. But I'm very interested to see what Huss brings to the table on that conversation. If you want to hop on Play Alberta right now, and we'll have some bonuses and stuff for you starting tomorrow. But we are running a little bit of a special test today, so you can actually go and see the EST specials tab right now and hop in there, which is kind of neat. But the NHL slate for tonight, Washington Capitals -189 at home tonight to finish off the Montreal Canadiens. Florida and Tampa pretty much a coin flip, close to a pick'em. Tampa's -118 at home to stay alive tonight. No Ekblad, no Hagel in that game. How does that impact things? And the Winnipeg Jets -189 at home tonight against the St. Louis Blues, with the momentum in that series on the side of St. Louis, similar to the way that it was with Edmonton going in here against the Los Angeles Kings. So I do find that pretty interesting as well. Rob from the Grove says the EST early bird bet is a Lakers win and LBJ and Luka double-double. LOL. Look, I had to. It's not like our official first play. I was just sending some stuff over, and I was like, I got to get a piece of this. And I love that bet. I mean, I would think the Lakers are going to win tonight at home. And if they do, it's going to be a LeBron, Luka double-double, both of them. So I like that. I like that one. And you can actually hop over there and get it right now at plus 210. Lakers to win, and LeBron and Luka both to record a double-double. It's over there. It's been boosted. You click on EST specials. It'll take you right in there, and we'll dive into this tomorrow. Well, the way it's going to work is that, hopefully by the time sporting events start around 5 o'clock every day, we will have about 5 or 6 different bets in our own tab over there at Play Alberta, which is pretty good. Very much looking forward to that. Mark, a fan of Vasuk. I think that's how Huss has said it in the past. He says every Tampa, Florida game has a clip that says, "Is this hit a suspension?" And he's right. I asked Wyshynski that today. I said, who gets suspended coming out of tonight's game between these two teams? Oh, look who it is. It is Winnipeg Whiteout White. Huss from WST joins us. Huss, I have to tell you, the Edmonton Oilers went on the road last night, a convincing victory. Hopefully the Jets don't get that same thing happening to them. And I don't think they will. What's the level of confidence like right now in the Peg, buddy?
It's building. It's building. I'm very thankful for the extra day between these games. Not particularly thankful for a 10-9 start tonight. I could certainly handle getting to puck drop earlier than that, but it is what it is. And, listen, we heard from Connor Hellebuck yesterday, or was it the day before, saying, you know what, he needs to be better. He will be better. The entire team does. And I think they understand the challenge tonight. Now, listen, it's not easy, and it's not supposed to be easy. And the St. Louis Blues are, listen, if you just looked at the last 3 months of the season, they were right there at the top of the league. They're playing a really tough brand of hockey, and they were clearly the better team in game 3 and 4. But I think, as I said earlier on, this might be the biggest gut check we've seen for this group. Hellebuck, Morrissey, Scheifele, Connor, Adam Lowry, considering what's happened the last couple of years. So, yeah, there's some people that were freaking out. But I think that some sober second thoughts that this is a 2-2 series right now. The home team has won every game. You have home ice advantage. You got to embrace the challenge and embrace the opportunity. Fans will be behind them tonight. So we'll see what we get. But it's hard not to think that this sort of is the series tonight. I think it's like 80% that teams that win game 5 in a 2-2 series move on to win. So, and I am quite comforted by the fact that the biggest brains, the guys that set the odds, feel the Jets are the favorite that they are. We're looking at numbers in excess of minus 180 for Winnipeg tonight. I was looking at the series numbers, which was minus 180. It dropped to minus 172 yesterday, and that's sort of where it is right now. So I know it kind of felt like the sky is falling for Winnipeg fans, just the way those two games went in game 3 and 4. But again, it is just 2 games. They were really good at home. Time to get it done tonight. And, to be honest, I think they can look at a performance like the Oilers last night, albeit on the road, but in a crucial game 5, as a perfect example of what it means to step up with your best in the face of adversity and the most pressure. And holy crap, was that a performance last night?
The Oilers, if you are, and I'm just looking at some of our obviously WSTers in the chat over on the Lock Shop here. Matt says cautiously optimistic, Dusty, and Mark says in Velarde we trust. So, I think you guys were the best team in the league the entire regular season. You should have confidence in your group tonight. But yeah, the Oilers, I was just going to say from a fan base perspective here in Edmonton, from a back-to-back game scenario where the sky was falling, which it was after games 1 and 2 of this series, to where they're at now. Last night's game was one of the most dominant 2-1 hockey games prior to the empty net that I'd ever seen. Like the scoring chances were something like, what they say today? What was the scoring chances last night at one point? Like 32-4? Like it was insane. Kemper absolutely stood on his head last night. And that was like, somebody's like, well, Dusty, what happens in game 6 if they get goalied? And I said, well, they got goalied in game 5, but pushed through it and found a way to win. Like that's what happened last night. They got goalied and still came out on top.
that game should have been 8-1.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. Kemper was absolutely brilliant last night. So, yeah, I mean, the Oilers, and it's so crazy how these series can flip. I was just talking to AJ Jakubek, and
yes,
and AJ is the best. And we got talking about the Oilers Kings series, and he said, without hyperbole, Jim Hiller has had arguably the worst coaching performance in a series in recent NHL history. I mean, going back to the challenge call, which in a lot of ways probably turned this series in Edmonton's favor. Was Kempe playing defense at one point last night?
He was at one point last night. I believe it was Edmonton who kind of got banged up, and they'd rather Kempe play defense for a bit than play one of their other defensemen that they didn't decide to play. I'm not still too sure of the logic on that one.
No. Anyways, it's been a rough series for Jim Hiller, and now the Kings. Again, I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, with teams that are facing elimination or teams that could lose, because these teams could also win. But, I mean, if LA goes down in the fashion that it looks like they're about to, after arguably being the better team for the first 4 games of the series, to potentially go out in 6 would be devastating. And again, this is 4 years in a row where they're having to deal with Connor and Leon and the rest of the Edmonton Oilers. And if they don't win this year, and it doesn't look like they're going to, I'm not sure that's ever going to happen. They may petition to move to the Central Division or something like that, just to avoid a guaranteed first rounder with the Oilers next season.
I want to that would be funny. Actually, what's going on? We got to get out of here. I mean, we got to find a way. Mike Kelly, this was brought up over in the chat, so I looked it up for myself. Mike Kelly last night, a lot of analytics and stuff, obviously. As for the game as a whole, it was the most lopsided playoff game by far in terms of goals probability since 2016-17. The expected goals in last night's game were 8.20 for Edmonton, 1.72 for the Los Angeles Kings. Like, that's how. And here's
the 8-1. I said it should have been 8-1.
Exactly. Like that game. They should have been 8-1. I said the exact same this morning. Right when we started the show, I said it should have been 7-1. 8-1 last night. This is another one. The most net front shots and highest goal probability in a regulation time game in the last 9 years in the league was what the Oilers did last night to the Los Angeles Kings. And the Kings looked dead walking off the ice. Sticks were being thrown. Like, I think they know it. Like, they know it. Like, it's happening again to them. And this one might be the most frustrating out of all of them.
I don't know how they come back from it, but it will be really interesting to see what they've got for the Oilers in Game 6 on the road. Is that game tomorrow?
Yeah, it's tomorrow night, 8 o'clock.
So there's no break in between them. Well, listen, that's good. I guess you were probably completely locked in on the Oilers Kings game and probably didn't see a lot of Vegas, Minnesota last night.
I did not. I mean, I heard about some of it, but I did not see any of it. You must have had eyes on it.
Well, for sure. I mean, I had the big swing parlay last night. Rod Z and I were Ottawa, Minnesota, Edmonton. They got a boost to about 16-1. I was, and this is the funniest thing. And anyone in Winnipeg and anyone that knows me will get this. To lose such an awesome parlay in that fashion was devastating. Minnesota scores the go-ahead goal with a minute left, and it is called back on a completely unnecessary offside. I mean, I can't remember the player that ended up being offside on the Hartman goal, but just completely inexcusable. I will say this. If I was going to lose a great parlay in spectacular fashion, let it be on a heartbreaking bonehead cramp by the Minnesota Wild that prevents the rat Ryan Hartman from scoring the biggest goal of his life. So
the most torn person in the country was you watching that go down.
As pissed off as I was of what happened, I did have a little smile on my face knowing how rattled they'd be. Like, imagine being a Wild fan right now with the way that you've played, you lose these last 2 games in overtime, and the game last night is there for the taking. You get the winning goal, and I mean, I don't know if you've seen it, but I mean, the guy was just lazy. Like, how do you just don't keep your foot on the line? I mean, it was incredibly dumb. And listen, good teams at this time of year don't make those sorts of mistakes. But I kind of feel for Wild fans. I mean, they were been, I think, pleasantly surprised with how well this team has played against Vegas. We said they were a live dog last night. They probably should have won that hockey game. And I felt bad for Fleury too. I mean, what a strange. We're watching the game, and all of a sudden we're like, what the hell is Fleury doing in net?
Yeah.
Because we had the sound on for the Oiler game, and then realized that I guess Gus got sick and had to be pulled after the second period. And it would have been such an amazing story if Fleury could have gone in and got that win. All-time NHL leading 18th playoff season appearance for Fleury. But listen, it was the Winnipeg guy, Brett Howden, that buried that chance in a matter of a second. And Vegas just seems like one of these teams. It reminded me of the series 2 years ago. You know, you can play them tough, you can hang around, but they are a team with the championship pedigree that finds ways to win in those close games. And, you know, Minnesota, that's going to be a long, long plane ride back to the Twin Cities for game number 6. But I will say this, I think they've got to feel really good about just how much they've been in this game. Frustrated that they're not ready to ice the Knights. But they won't be an easy out for Vegas in game number 6, I'll tell you that.
You talk a little bit about championship pedigree in there. Let's go to a team that has none of it and has now lost 2 in a row and is going into Ottawa for game 6. What do you think, Huss? Like, when does it, are they already like, oh, damn, here we go. Is it there yet, do you think, for the Toronto Maple Leafs core again?
Listen, I don't want to talk too much smack to the Leafs nation, considering where I'm at and where my team is at and the playoff demons and ghosts that they need to stare down tonight in a crucial game 5. However, the Toronto Maple Leafs getting shut out last night at home to Ottawa with the chance to move on, win in 5, let Tampa and Florida keep on beating the hell out of each other, to not even score a goal. Pathetic. And as pathetic maybe was the performance of the big guns on the Leafs, was that crowd last night. They did nothing to help their team. They turned on them by the end. There was boo birds. I saw some loser burning a jersey last night online. I mean, they're up 3-2. And someone, you know, we had the joke that, you know, St. Louis is leading the series 2-2 in the Jets St. Louis series.
Yes.
Because of the way it felt coming out of game 4. Someone said Ottawa is now leading this series 2-3, heading back to game 6. I mean, they have all the momentum and the pressure on those guys. Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Tavares. It's going to be wrapped up. That's not going to be an easy game for them to win in game number 6. And I kind of feel like game 6 is the series. Like if this gets back to Toronto for game 7 and Ottawa's won 3 in a row with no pressure whatsoever, we've seen the Leafs come up small in the biggest moments over and over and over.
1 in 13 in the Matthews era in games to clinch. It's insane.
Absolutely. It is the most damning stat you could possibly have about a team. 1 in 13 in clinching games. And I don't know if you saw some of the aftermath. I mean, poor Brian Hayes was trying to keep it together on a Sports Center hit last night. O-Dog says something needs to change. He's shaving the playoff beard this afternoon on overdrive.
That's big.
They're pulling out all the stops right now because they see where this is going. They've been there before. And a lot of tight sphincters in and around.
Who do you think in that Leafs group? I think you would look at, well, Matthews is supposed to be the guy. He's probably feeling the most pressure, but Marner's the one who always gets the heat. Right? Yeah. Do you think with Mitchie Marner's face it? Like, is he the guy who's just like, he's got to be public enemy number 1? And that was the jersey they were burning. Was it not a Marner jersey? I think it was a Marner jersey.
It was a Marner.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I don't know if you saw the Cousins goal that really iced it, but it was Cousins and Willie Nylander that were side by side when the play started going the other way. And it was Willie Nylander who was a good 8 feet behind Dylan Cousins when the puck was going in the net. So I think Nylander kind of skates on a lot of these things, maybe because he's a European guy, is a little more quiet or soft-spoken. Marner seems that he's always going to be the lightning rod there in Toronto. And this goes back to being a hometown guy, to the contract negotiations the last time. And then, of course, the fact that he's an unrestricted free agent at the end of this year. I mean, if they lose this, I don't know that there's any way they can bring him back, although I don't think it's going to make them better to have him leave. But you know what? I think I'm going to go with Matthews. Matthews is the captain of the team.
Yep.
Matthews is the one that they have really invested in, put the C on his chest. He has, I think, in those 14 games or 15 games or so, maybe he's got 2 goals in his last 15.
Well, somebody, Andrew, the accountant, just texted this in, and I replied to him because I was just like, "Are you like?" He says, "If you want an interesting stat for the Leafs in series clinching games in the Matthews era, which I was just talking about, 1 in 14,
Yep.
the amount of power play goals they have scored is 1, and the amount of shorthanded goals they've allowed is 2." Which I have a hard time believing they only have 1 power play goal in 14 clinching games. But I also don't know why Andrew the accountant will make that up. If anybody knows numbers, it's a dude named Andrew the accountant. So
Yes.
that's a tough look for your core guys who are supposed to be on there. I mean, unbelievable. And Ottawa's already playing with free money now. I mean, they're going to go home. They're going to be flying. It's like, whatever. We took it to 6. Everybody thought it would go 6. That's a dangerous team right there.
They've lost 2 games in overtime in this series. They could easily be playing to win the series right now and send the Leafs to the golf course. So tomorrow night is going to be a wild night. I mean, obviously we've got the 3 games tonight, but tomorrow is what a slate of games. Game 6, Dallas, Colorado. Game 6, Leafs, Sens. Game 6, Wild Knights, and Game 6, Kings, Oilers.
God.
Where are you at on Game 7s right now?
Okay.
I saw a number. It was plus 130 for over 2.5 Game 7s in the West. Because all those series were
they were all at 2.
And then I think it was plus 110 for over 3.5 Game 7s in the entire first round. But I mean, obviously Winnipeg, St. Louis is 2-2. It will be 3-2 regardless, one way or the other. Then I guess this is the question. Can Colorado win Game 6? Can the Wild win Game 6? Can the Kings win Game 6? I think it might be the under of the 2.5, even if the Winnipeg St. Louis game goes. I kind of think that Colorado gets that series to 7. I'm not sure whether the Wild or Kings are going to be able.
See, and I think the Wild do.
I think the Wild have a better chance in LA.
The Wild have a better chance in LA. Part of me almost feels like the Wild might have a better chance in Colorado, and I know that sounds crazy. But I think both of those series could end up going 7. Dallas, if Dallas can get through Colorado in 6, and then they do it without Heiskanen and without Robertson, like that's pretty damn impressive for a team that's gone to back-to-back conference championships. That's just, damn, they're good again. I think we'd kind of fly under the radar a little bit if they get that done.
Well, listen, I will say I think they're very fortunate to be in the situation that they are.
Yeah, you did say you like watching that series. Colorado had a couple really good games.
Game 1 and 4 was Colorado. They were clear, or game 1 and 5, I guess. 1 and 4. Colorado clearly the better team. And Dallas sort of found a way to win 2 overtime games, have it at 2-2. And then obviously Colorado had the nightmare start, giving up the goal 9 seconds in and just never really got on a head footing. I would be shocked if that series doesn't go that series doesn't go to 7. And again, I see this number on the Jets tonight, basically the same as where Colorado's at. And Sure would be nice to be going to St. Louis up 3-2. And I know that's going to dominate our conversations today on WST as well. But it was such an awesome night of hockey yesterday. I didn't even talk about, you brought up power play. Ended up sort of getting sucked in to the Carolina Jersey game last night. Lots of goals, a long overtime. But this was the number that stood out the most for the power play. Jersey was 0 for 15, I believe, in the series on the power play, and had given up a shorthanded goal. Much like that number that ATA, Andrew the accountant, just dropped on us on the text line. The power play futility for Jersey was really, really costly. And then into OT, I mean, Dawson Mercer, careless stick into Kotkaniemi's face, and all of a sudden it's a 4-minute power play. And to their credit, they killed off the first 3 minutes, and I really got the feeling that if they killed that off, they were going to find a way to win that game, even though the shots in overtime at one point were 13-1 for Carolina. But again, Aho was able to get it done. And the Jersey Devils are the first team out, and the Carolina Hurricanes are the first team moving on to the next round. Now, there are two teams facing elimination tonight. The Montreal Canadiens and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Lightning are at home. That game's basically a pick 'em.
Yeah, they're a slight favorite. I'm looking at 118 right now here. So, I mean, I do like Tampa tonight, Huss. I will say that. I mean, I think Tampa at home finds a way to fight. I just don't see John Cooper not pushing that team to a victory tonight against Florida.
It would be such a buzzkill if this series ended in 5 games. Like they have been. I mean, this is the nastiest. Oh yeah, the nastiest series of it all. Ekblad comes back for 2 games and he's immediately suspended for another 2. So he'll be off the Panther blue line tonight. And Tampa's got to be pissed off. I mean, they were leading by a goal with less than 5 minutes and gave up 2 in a matter of seconds that completely flipped that game for them. I certainly do think that Tampa is a very slight favorite, is probably the play in that game. I don't have a lot of faith that the Habs are going to find a way to get this one back to the Bell Center, though.
I don't think so either. I mean, I was Washington in 5. I've been impressed by what the Habs have done so far, but I would be, to be honest with you, I'd be kind of stunned if Washington doesn't finish this thing off tonight. And, Montreal's been scrappy. Again, I think there's some things to build on with the Montreal Canadiens here moving forward, coming from this. There's some things that you probably didn't like either, but I think this Washington with the season that they've had so far. Somebody just jumped off a bunch of orange Pepsi here at the office for us. Grand Fear teamed up with some orange Pepsi. Yeah, I think it's like an orange Pepsi. So that'll be cool. I'll get to that on the oil stream maybe a little bit later on. So yeah, I think Montreal's probably done tonight, and I think Winnipeg takes a 3-2 series lead, and I think Tampa makes it a 3-2 series. I could still see Tampa, Florida going 7, man. I could still see that, and I want it. They going into it. That was the series outside of the Oilers and Kings, obviously, that intrigued me the most. You said it, Huss. I mean, it's been one of the nastiest series we've seen in quite some time, I think. I'm sure something will pop up again tonight that will lead to a conversation in markets all across the league tomorrow about this series as well. So these two teams are too evenly matched for Tampa to just go by the wayside in 5.
You know how like the NHL, they've got the control room that is, ready for a call at any point to make a call. They put the Department of Player Safety also on call. Like those guys, they don't get to go home. They're just going to need to be there watching the Tampa Florida series so they can get ahead of everything that's going to be.
I'm surprised they haven't rolled Paterson into town yet.
Hey, be at the games.
Rated the game. Just be there, ready to go. So yeah, that's like, I think I like Washington tonight. I like Winnipeg tonight, and
Tampa. I mean, Tampa. I was looking at the Dogs last night, tonight, like in the favorites. And again, the Winnipeg, I don't really think the Jets should be as big of a favorite as they are. But I love the confidence that the bookmakers have in them. And again, home ice has been the story of this series. The home team has won. all four. The Jets have been a great home team. St. Louis was just really, really good and did a lot of great things against Winnipeg, and they're going to need to be a hell of a lot better tonight. And I hope that they will be. Hey, I have to ask you. You're a sports dad.
Yes.
Just imagine yourself moving on. Marshall becomes a great player. Maybe he grows in. He's even bigger than you. And he's playing in the NBA. And, Marshall's team wins a series. Would you go onto the floor as a dad and get in a guy like Giannis's face and disrespect him the way that Mr. Halliburton did after last night's game? What a crazy scene.
Mr. Halliburton has been too involved a number of times throughout the season. Like, I'm pretty sure this guy's like courtside every single game, and he's got into it with other players before. But after the series, to be on the court going up to Giannis I'm trying to think. I come from a family of crazy parents. Like my mom and dad both coached me in sports, like in basketball especially. And that does sound like something my mom would do. If I was, you sound like
after you won.
It's not a joke. Like she would probably do that. She was very vocal during my basketball playing days. I would not. One time, I don't know if I told you this story. I think I've mentioned it on the air before. Like in grade 7, my dad and mom were our co-coaches, and the ref didn't show up for a game we were playing against like this private school team. So my dad was just like, I'll officiate, and Kathy, my mom, you can coach the team, and I'll just officiate. And like in the third quarter of that game, my dad ejected my mom from the game for how vocal she was coaching. And I had to ride home with my parents after my dad ejected my mom from a basketball game. So I would not put it past my parents to do a full Halliburton. I wouldn't have the balls to do it. But my parents would have done something like that, which is just insane.
I think that guy should be banned from the arenas.
I mean, anybody else would. Like if anybody else went out there and did that, why would they be allowed to do that? Like it's unacceptable.
And listen, I know there's all this talk, and like ESPN's already stiff. Oh, Giannis to the Lakers, Giannis to all that. I
saw Giannis to the Rockets today already.
I mean, he's got a 3-year extension kicking in next year. Like, why is Milwaukee? Why would Milwaukee trade Giannis? I don't understand. Now, maybe he tries to force it, and that's the way the NBA works. But I've got a lot of respect for Giannis, one of my favorite athletes in all sports, and I dare say he might be the most well-spoken athlete in the NBA. And I think
he is fun to listen to in postgame, man. He's good.
Did you hear his comments about that? He had a very thoughtful, about 2-minute answer about the way that he was raised and his parents and how much they respect others and taught them to do it, and just how disrespectful. And you listen to him say that out, and it's just like, man, his parents did the most incredible job of raising a young man that not only is a champion, but behaves like one. And you couldn't help but think that whatever the clown that, is the father of Halliburton, probably not in the same category. And I listen, I couldn't have loved Giannis anymore. I feel bad that their team, they lost Dame and it hasn't gone well, but he's an NBA champion. He brought a championship to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Yep. And he's one guy.
He had an answer. Do you remember that answer he had that one year when they lost, and like the reporter was just like, the season's a failure. And he goes, well, why would we say the season's a failure? Like, here's the thing. And I was just like, man, like this guy, he gets it. I thought I'll never forget that answer. He was great. He's a well thought out, intelligent dude, which, I mean, kind of difficult to find with some of the access you get to some of these guys. You never learn about them in the National Hockey League. They're all very protected. And there's not many guys in the NBA who can kind of roll at that level with Giannis.
Well, to be honest, I mean, I think there's a nature of, him coming from Nigeria or wherever I think that is his original country, and, very young, growing up in Greece, in a very different culture, like North American culture. I think especially, and this is not unique to basketball. I mean, I think hockey's right there. Certainly football. I mean, look at Sugar Sanders. I mean, we're sort of, our culture, which is about ring chasing and, a lot about personal promotion, has created a ton of prima donnas and guys that I don't think see the world or the game or their place in the context that it probably should be. And Giannis has it. And I'm with you. That quote that he had after they lost in a very disappointing fashion was about as impressive as I've seen from any athlete. And he had similar comments last night. So I'm a huge Giannis guy. Too bad that it went the way that it did. But the Pacers are moving on.
Did you see the finish of that game though? The Pacers were down 7 with 43 seconds left.
Oh.
And came back and won. They scored 8 straight, and I think the majority of it was Halliburton. And they came back and eliminated the Bucks. Like the Milwaukee was at, I think with 48 seconds left, like a 97.5% chance of winning that game. And they let it slip away. So I think that led to some of the sort of fireworks after the game as well. Just a stunning, stunning finish.
How about the Pistons?
Yeah.
Getting a much deserved victory. They should already be on to the next round. If you think about the way they got hosed in game 3 and 4.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. And yeah, so they're 3-2 going home here. So that's a positive. Home. Yeah. And then the Nuggets game last night. So Denver's up 3-2. And the Nuggets last night put up like 131 at home. So I clicked on that box score. I was fully, obviously, engaged. We were out at a pub last night with a watch party, and I got home, kind of sat down, was still watching our post-game show and brought up the NBA scores. And I was like, oh, man, the Nuggets, Jokic must have had a massive game. Jokic only had 13 points in that game. Jamal Murray went off. Yeah, he had a triple-double, but just 13 points. And he wasn't even like shooting the ball a ton. It was just a straight-up Jamal Murray game last night for the Nuggets. So I'm wondering if Denver kind of identified something in this series where they're like, you know what? Maybe we can take advantage of some matchups with Jamal Murray more so than just running everything with Jokic, because it sure worked last night. Now they're kind of in the driver's seat.
Well, I mean, Murray has been sort of underwhelming for
a while now. He was a bit hurt this year too. He missed some time.
But we know that he has the ability to be a difference maker, and he's done that before, in the bright lights and the big moments. The guy that I don't know if you could ever count on, but they did last night, was Westbrook. He was not bricking them. He had 21, was actually 8 of 15, and shot 50% from 3. So if you can get Westbrook and not Westbrick, that's a big, big boost. But if you would have told me that the Nuggets were going to put up 131 and win by 16, what the over-under on Jokic points would be, I would say it's probably about 33.5. To see him come in with only 13 and have the least points outside of Christian Braun of the starters, actually pretty stunning. But I'm happy. I got no love for the Clippers. And the NBA playoffs are better with the Joker in them. So I hope that the Denver Nuggets can get this one done.
We're on the NBA, so we might as well get to it. Lakers tonight. We'll look to avoid it. And actually, we got that Houston Golden State game tonight too. There's a great doubleheader tonight in the NBA. The Lakers will look to stay. I haven't been overly impressed with what they've done so far, but I haven't been crazy. I've been angry, but I haven't been crazy disappointed because they've played some pretty good basketball. They haven't finished, and Anthony Edwards is a stud. But I will be livid if they lose at home tonight in Game 5. Like, I absolutely love the Lakers tonight. I love a double-double from LeBron. I love a double-double from Luka. I think those guys are going to have I think I laid it out yesterday. I could see a situation where the Lakers win by 15 plus tonight and then lose in Game 6 when it gets back to Minnesota and Anthony Edwards is like, okay, we're not going back for a Game 7. And he just sort of takes it to another level. But 2 days rest after playing like 2 games in like 1.5 days. 2 days rest going into this one. I think you'll probably see the best game from the Lakers tonight, and there probably won't be a crazy sense of urgency from the T-Wolves. So I do like Los Angeles tonight.
What are your point predictions for the King and the Prince? LeBron and Luka.
Last time we did point predictions on this, I think I remember saying, I expect LeBron to be around like 24, 10, and 8. And I got pretty close on that one. I would think Luka's shot volume will probably be up. I'd like to see him dial that back a little bit and move the ball a bit more, but I would think Luka's probably good for 30. It's a must-have game, so I'd probably put Braun in for at least 25. And I'm not too sure where I'm at on Reeves. He got in foul trouble in the first half of the last game, essentially didn't play, but then came back in the second half and might have had his best half of the series so far. So Luka will get 30, Braun will get 25, and then we'll see what they can get from the rest. I think they only had 6 bench points last game, but they didn't even play the bench in the second half of the last game. So,
Hey, never mind the points. What's the over-under on minutes for LeBron and Luka in this game tonight, facing elimination with no tomorrow?
Yeah, all of them. It's all of them. They're coming off 2 days rest. I would be pretty surprised if Redick did what he did last game and not sub anybody in if it's a tight game in the second half. Like, they've got guys they can play Vanderbilt. I don't mind giving Vanderbilt a few more minutes. I would probably leave Jackson Hayes on the bench in the second half, but Gabe Vincent's had some good games for them. So I'd probably do Gabe Vincent. And then the Goodwin guy, he can give you some decent minutes. And he's kind of a bit of a, like Charlie Hustle sort of defensively can do some things for you. So I hope they stretch the bench a little bit tonight. If things don't go well, I wouldn't mind even seeing a little bit of Dalton Connect tonight, because that guy could shoot the 3. I mean, you can get him hot. He could go off for 12 points in a quarter just from beyond the arc. So, but I think we'll see a good game from the Lakers tonight. And then after that, I have no idea. But I think they'll get. I think it'll be a good one tonight.
What about Golden State, Houston, and where is that 3? Is that 3-1?
It's 3-1. Houston is back home, but they're facing elimination tonight. Houston's a pretty good basketball. Fred VanVleet, I don't know if you caught it in that last game. VanVleet was amazing last game. I think he tied a career playoff high 8 3-pointers. Like, he was just automatic. He was outstanding in that last game. I'm looking at the Rockets minus 189 right now at home. I think the value, I don't love them at minus 189, and Golden State plus 1. I don't. What's the 4 points? I'm looking at. I know it's just tough with Steph and Jimmy Butler on the other side. But Golden State will have a chance to go home in Game 6 and wrap it up. And Houston hung really tight with them. That last game came down to the last 1 or 2 minutes. So, Houston at home tonight. The 4, I might be on Golden State plus 4. No, you know what? I'll go Houston minus 4, because if Golden State falls behind, they might just be like, you know what? We got Game 6 at home. It'd be stunning if the Rockets rolled in there and knocked off, or not knocked off, but beat Steph at home in a Game 6. So yeah, maybe I am on Houston minus 4 tonight. I think I might have talked myself into that one.
I'm seeing Lakers minus 5.5. And I kind of think that if the Lakers win this game, it's probably by double digits.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think, it's a big number on the money line.
Like, if you're on the Lakers tonight, just get them on the spread.
That's the way I'm looking at it. Because I really do think, and Minnesota's in a situation where they'll see, okay, if it's not going their way and they're probably not winning, give Ant a little bit more rest, just accept it and know that you've got the chance to come back and get that win in front of your home fans on home court, which has been such a big thing. It's not like last year where they had to come back from, was it 3-1 down against the Nuggets with 2 games in Denver?
Yeah.
They know that Game 6 is going to be their best chance to win. So I don't think that they'll lay it all out if they're down. And listen, I think we should expect a big game from the Lakers at home coming in to extend their season. It would be pretty disappointing for all the hype about this team to get Luka to go out in 5 games to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Yeah.
It would not be good. It would not be good. I think they'll get that done tonight. Huss, a couple other things I want to get to. Quickly, did you see the nominees for the Lindsay?
No.
Okay, perfect. I'm glad you haven't seen them yet. The nominees for the Ted Lindsay Award was just announced by the NHLPA like an hour ago. Nikita Kucherov, Nathan McKinnon.
Yeah.
Cale Makar.
Wow. No Draisaitl, no Hellebuck.
Yeah. Do you remember a year where the two front runners for the Hart Trophy, neither of them were nominated for the Lindsay, which is voted on by the players? I was stunned when I saw that today.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre.
From the same team, too.
Yeah, two guys from the same team, and the two guys who are the front runners for the Hart Trophy are not even nominated a finalist for the Lindsay. I had to look again because I thought it was a fake account. I'm like, how are one of Hellebuck or Draisaitl not nominated by the players for the most outstanding player award? And the goaltenders put up a season for the ages, and Leon's the only guy who hit 50 goals, and he did it comfortably. It doesn't make sense. I'm stunned.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I can understand that, when you're polling all of the players, that there's not a lot of support for goalies. So I think that, if we were talking about, I think Hellebuck or any goalie, frankly, is going to probably get a little bit more fair run by the media and broadcasters and people that'll really sort of dive into the numbers of the entire season and compare the historical nature of it. But no Draisaitl is shocking. I mean, by what measure even if you take Makar out, maybe guys think just Makar is just so special as a defenseman. We think that he's the best player and we're going to vote for him. Like, by what measure are you taking Kucherov and McKinnon over Draisaitl this year? Listen, hey, if anything, I don't think Leon's going to care very much, and that might be another chip on his shoulder moving on through the playoffs. And there's a chance he might get a chance to take on certainly the Avalanche players if they're fortunate enough to come back in their series and get through into round 3. But I mean, has Leon been the best Oiler?
Oh yeah. Like this season?
No, in the playoffs.
It's kind of weird. We were talking about it this morning. Like, him and Draisaitl, or Leon and Connor, are tied for the playoff scoring lead. But outside of Connor's 1 4-point period there, we haven't really been like, oh my God, Connor and Leon are torching the Kings. Like, it's sort of, I don't know if it's just we expect it. I wouldn't say Leon's been their best player so far in this series. I don't know. I mean, we'll discuss this on the oil stream. We had kind of the conversation yesterday about who's sort of been the most important, and Bouchard, good or bad, is obviously an answer that pops up. Evander Kane's been really good, buddy.
I was just going to bring up my old pal, Evander. I mean, he's
been awesome.
It is really amazing. We talked about Landeskog, and Landeskog's comeback is in a whole different category. I mean, 3 years away from the game since they won the cup, coming back and scoring. But I don't think enough people are talking about Evander missing the entire season and coming back and immediately being a very, very important part of the turnaround of this series.
He's driving their second line right now. When they put McDavid and Draisaitl together, it's Hyman, Nuge, and Kane has been the driver of that line so far.
Best case scenario for the Oilers is down 3-2 if Kane's not here. And I would argue that if Kane's not back with the club and didn't play, it might be over right now at 4-1.
You know what? With how impactful he's been and how aggressive he is again, like he's dragging guys into scrums. And last year in the playoffs, he was so banged up that by the time they got to the Stanley Cup final, they couldn't even dress him anymore.
Couldn't play. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, a healthy Evander Kane might actually change some few things for the Oilers this year. The Bombers got their quarterback yesterday, a little bit later on than we thought they might have to. So you must be really happy with that.
First of all, the guy that went first overall closed at 90-1.
Yeah, when I saw him, so I was, I had a nap and I woke up and it was 6 picks in. And I went and I saw the guy that Calgary took first out of Utah. And I was like, wait a second, I got to scroll down and see where somebody, he wasn't being mocked anywhere up there, which they obviously must have a full-blown commitment, love the guy. I think he's going to fit in extremely well, but still was a bit of a stunner.
It absolutely was. No, I think I tweeted this out. I'm just looking to see. But yeah, 90-1. And listen, that just goes to show how unpredictable the CFL draft is. But I know John Hodges' mock. I know Marshall Ferguson's mock, two people I really respect, had Connor Shea going number 1 overall.
Yeah.
The Bombers get him at 6. I wanted Elgersma. I just wanted Elgersma, so I was fine if they picked him at 6 and then went to other needs in the second round. Well, they end up getting arguably the number 1 player, certainly by many people, at 1 or at number 6. They end up getting another linebacker from North Texas at 15, and then get Taylor Elgersma at 18. Now, not that I don't wish good things for him. I know he's got mini camp interests and, from the National Football League, but the best case scenario for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and I think for him, would be to not get a chance to be a 4th, 5th guy and go to camp in the NFL. Come to Winnipeg this year. Learn and play behind Zach Collaros this season. I think it could be so valuable. And I love the fact, we were talking about him and Curtis Rourke. Now, I would have taken him before just because I think his availability is a lot more likely. I mean, Rourke was drafted by the 49ers. He's a 7th round pick. Okay. Well, Brock Purdy was a 7th round pick too.
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan sees something in this guy. And I think he's going to be given plenty of opportunity to sort of be around that team. I expect he'll be there for a year or two. Elgersma comes from 3-down football. This isn't a Canadian guy that's been down playing at community college and then 3 years at the NCAA. He's playing on Canadian fields. He's been throwing Canadian balls. So to get him in for a year minimum under Zach Collaros, I just think it's a great, great secession plan, if you will. And again, who knows whether he's going to pan out, but I did see, was it John Hodge mentioning after the Riders took Rourke? Can you imagine the Labor Day Classic in 2028 being a battle of 2 Canadian quarterbacks, Curtis Rourke and Taylor? That
would be cool. That'd be a lot of fun.
Amazing for the Canadian Football League. But I'm here for the Canadian QB. You guys have got a good one in Edmonton and Trey Ford. BC's got one in Nathan Rourke. And, honestly, 10 years ago, that did not even seem remotely possible. So I'm a big supporter of 3-down football, of our Canadian talent. I love the fact that the Bombers took this guy, and I'm really hoping he ends up with the team this year, because I think a season under a guy like Zach Collaros, who prepares, is such a great leader, would be an amazing way to bring him into the organization and get him ready for an opportunity that will come at some point if he does sign with the team.
That's what's coming up on WST today, buddy.
Well, listen, we're gonna be getting ready for Game 5 tonight. We got Cam Jansen in St. Louis. He's gonna be jumping on. Really fun guy to talk to. You can check out the Cam and Strick podcast with Andy Strickland. Although, as he mentioned, for those of you with kids, this is an R-rated podcast.
It's an earmuffs. It's an earmuff show.
Earmuffs.
Yeah.
But no earmuffs needed for his WST visit. He's going to be coming on. Murad Atesh is going to break down and all the angles of Game 5 tonight. We're going to take a trip out to Ottawa, check in on the Sens with our pal AJ Jakubek. And Ed Tate's going to join us to give a rundown of what the Bombers did last night at the draft. So it'll be a good one. We got plenty of time because the puck's not dropping until 8:52 p.m. tonight. So yeah, Jet fans and anyone else, if you want to join us, we'll be firing it up in about 5 minutes over on the WST channel. Go give them a sub over on the Winnipeg Sports Talk channel right here on EST as well. We've got the oil stream coming up next with myself and handsome Tom Gazzola. That'll lead into EST afternoons from 1 until 3, where I do believe Hernan Salas will be performing La Bamba again. And then the Reed Wilkins show from 3 to 6 today. So lots of fun coming up here. Huss, good chat, buddy. Best of luck to everybody tonight. Thank you very much for joining us today. And we will talk to you tomorrow. Shout out to Hernan. Oh my God, that was amazing. What a beauty, right? Oh, good. See you later, man. Oh, yeah.